office?
Yes, I'm like my office. Yes.
All
No,
right.
I'm not at work.
You went from 6 viewers to 89 viewers in the last few minutes before you were going to turn off your live. When they start asking you to turn off your live, it always means that more people are coming in. I mean, you went from 6 to 86 while I was there.
Just that fast. Okay. I didn't pay attention to that. Okay.
Yeah, I know because you would live, and you need like a wingman or co-host or somebody, and I never have one. But
Okay. Well, I'm
I'm
willing
looking
to.
for
How often do you go live?
all the time now because the more you go live, the better it is for your numbers and your account and the likes. When you go live, you should tap your screen
Hmm.
because those likes count.
Okay.
And the more likes you get, the more, I guess, the more they boost your account.
Okay.
I just did it because TikTok is fun and it's a tick better than stereo. So a lot of
Hmm.
kids on stereo looking for their mom, and I don't want to be there. This is much better. And everybody thought you were a pastor.
A pastor? No. I'm actually.
Well, these are probably unchurched individuals, and they figure anybody that talk publicly about God is a pastor.
My dad is actually a pastor though, but I don't. Yeah, that I don't. I don't. I I really wasn't looking at religion. I was looking at what I felt was just right. So.
Well, that's all God really wants us to do, and a lot of the rest of it is flourish, and it
Mhm.
keeps folks employed. And if it's not hurting, then why would God say anything?
No doubt. I agree. I
But
absolutely
that's
agree.
the feedback. And then I went to your profile and looked to see what you actually did. So that's all really good.
Okay. Well, you know more than me because I had no. I was looking into it, but I hadn't. Just I
I
seen
just,
I had about 3,000 viewers at the time, but I wasn't.
I
I wasn't
thought you were a therapist.
a therapist. I think everybody a therapist that didn't live. Um, I think I didn't talk to therapists and before, and they they love me because my view on how I deal with things and my point of view on things. But I feel like it just common sense stuff to me. So
Well, I used to think that too until the Lord put me in places where He may not shine because there aren't any lampstands, possibly. And Jesus always sat around people that were not a part of genteel society.
mhm.
They had belly dances, strippers. I mean, at night they didn't have radio, they didn't have TV. They had each other and wine and strong wine and probably some grain. They're fermenting things. They got drunk and they did whatever. Because when the sun went down, they only had a fire to light their way. They couldn't go out in the fields. So people got freaky.
Yeah,
And Jesus would be there. I guess when the orgy starts, he left. But as long as he was there, he could impart knowledge onto these people because they're the ones who need it. Sick
that's
people
right.
go to a hospital. People who need Jesus need him to be there with him, not
Mhm.
sitting around the choir members.
You got to
Huh?
be in the mix of the pit in order to.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I am in my walk because I was just like those people that you were talking about. I mean, I was so wild. And I was an adult. And I was just like, I'm gonna do what I want to do because it's pandemic and God is gonna kill us. I thought we were gonna die eventually. We were all just gonna slowly die like those dystopian films
Mhm.
because it usually starts like that. And those are the only kind of films I really like. And so I just assumed we were all gonna die. So I'm gonna pull out that bucket list and I said yes more than I said no. And now we're still here. And I just duck my head down and continue to praise Jesus. Everybody not perfect. I mean, Mary Magdalene had 7 demons. I don't know. What else am I going to do? People trying to hold your feet to the fire. And it's like, I will fight you. You're
Yeah.
not going to hold my feet to the fire. I don't care what was said and what was done during pandemic. Those were pandemic times. You leave pandemic stuff in the past.
And that's highly respected, and I respect that. But on the flip side of that coin, I think from my perspective, how I do things is no matter what I came up against, I still it still was a foundation that I was gonna maintain. Regardless of the situation that's at hand, I was still gonna. I believe not necessarily about religion, but I believe that just whatever I did, I wanted to it represent me wherever I go, whenever I go, however I go. So that's why.
This wasn't a public display. Everybody was in. I mostly spent my time at the gym because there was nobody at the gym. There was nobody there but me, just about. And then when they said that people could come in without masks, that's when people started dying at the gym.
Yeah,
And
that's true. That's 100% true. That's right. I agree with that. You're right.
and it got scary after a while. But I took the oscillocoslim. I used the CDC hand. I mean, I started this podcast during that time, and I said a lot of stuff that I had to go back and lock those episodes so nobody else could. Because people they were looking at me, and I was like, well, it's not like I was lying. And I said, yeah, but we usually don't discuss stuff like that because it's not safe. I said, well, sometimes we need to step out on faith and say a few things.
You need to say what you feel need to be said. Sometimes it's only going to be a few that be willing to stand and say what need to be said. So
Well,
it's okay. No matter if people don't like it. Sometimes saying it.
No, I got divine guidance on when to shut up, like the brothers of Issachar. They know when to talk and when not to talk. Okay, because Stephen got stoned to death. When Jesus said, "You're going to see heaven with me," that's what he was talking about. Peter got crucified upside down. Paul got, Paul got died some kind of way because when they found out that he held the coats while they stoned Stephen to death, they got him.
Well, in this time, they call it blackball. That's what they may not stone you, but they may blackball.
I want you guys to come on down to my new storefront, Leslie M. Storefront. That's what it is. I'm an Amazon influencer. And with that, you get a storefront of curated items. In this video, you'll see a quick montage of all of the types of things that I'm curating. Stuff that you didn't even know existed. Now you know. And from what I can see out there in the shopping streets, people are going for what they know. It's get it while the getting is good. Because people want things, they have been putting it off, and they're buying everything. So if you want to get a jump, or if you see something you like, come on over 7 p.m. Central Standard Time to the Amazon storefront, Leslie M. I'm going to let you chill out to this here vibe and look at all the different things that you can buy. I'm going live. There's a link on YouTube. There's a link on Lemonade to the storefront. There's a link on Curvy Model Win on X to the storefront. So there are links everywhere. Just click on one and come on through and get these deals and savings while we can. Buy it while the buying is good. I was already blackballed, and I still wouldn't shut up.
Yeah.
And I see people walking down my path, and I want to say something to them so bad, but it's not my place.
But see, it's sometimes saying things like if you're in the mix of, let's say I'm in the mix of demons, right?
Right.
That means instead of demons may be in power to a degree. Um, and whatever I say, I got to say it in a way where it don't put me. Of course, whatever you say, if you go against the grain, it's still gonna be make people angry. But you still got to be able to say things in a way where they can't actually use it to against you with the given situation. They're gonna be mad anyway, but actually how you come across with what you say depicts on if they can actually hurt you at that particular time. They may want to hurt you because they mad because you said certain things, but how you said it depends on if they can actually hurt you at that time.
Well, I like I said, I put all that stuff on lock because it really wasn't my concern, except that selfishly speaking, the people were bothering me with their noises and, just it's like a homeless encampment. And I only know that because I saw this man on YouTube take his camera,
Mm-hmm.
his cell phone, and walk down Skid Row.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, oh my God! But it was a sound. Even though they had fallen all the way down to partying in tents, they were still partying. There was music in the tents. The tents were jumping. And I bet you they have a whole societal ranking about whose tent you get to go in, all the way down there past the curb. I know that's what they're doing because they were like that when they were jet setters. And that's where that path leads. You can't, it's not sustainable. And they don't understand that. These are not generally educated people, but, people with money and opportunity. And the way they spend their time is the way they spend their time. You're an adult. But at the end of it, if you end up bartering or arguing with somebody or going through things to get into one tent over another tent, you really need to take a step back. And this is exactly what I heard. And then so I heard this sound outside my house. I'm a new homeowner. And I'm like, where did I hear that sound from? It went on for weeks. And suddenly it dawned on me. That's the sound you heard when the people were partying in the tents on Skid Row. You have a homeless encampment across the street from you.
Wow.
And they're all black men.
Wow.
Single last one. In their prime.
Wow.
And I'm the crotchety old lady. And I was like, could you please take the base? I mean, your base should not be shaking the plants off my credenza. Give me a break. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, because I never used to complain, because I was usually in the car with one of them, looking stupid and drunk and high, with a degree, because that's, they were buying. And so you just jump in the car when you're young and stupid, and God is protecting you. You get to live through it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, nobody was really kidnapping, black people. Black
Back
girls.
then.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing now. I don't know what they're doing now because I would never act like that. It's like the Lord woke me up and it's like, you see how stupid you've been? And I've been keeping you all this time. Who you think drove you home all the way from Secrets to your house? And you stopped down on 22nd Street to get some Chinese food 2 o'clock in the morning. And then drove. Who you think drove you there?
He killed you. That's right. That's right.
Angels. God would send angels to drive that car there. I'd have been dead. But eventually he got me together so that I could think clearly and be a mature adult.
Mm-hmm.
And then pandemic happened and I started this. But I've always kept a blog. I've had this one blog, imadeamess.com, for more than 10 years. 15.
Mm-hmm.
I had my YouTube account in 2008. I was on Twitter in 2008. Maybe it was when they started letting people have accounts on YouTube. I was one of the first ones. You could fix it up and put photos. It was like a scrapbook. I lived through a lot of stuff. I met a lot of nice people. But now I'm not really meeting a lot of nice people. I'm meeting a lot of people who need help. And you can't help a person who does not want the help or think that they don't need it.
That's right. I agree. Because
And then,
most people do
yeah.
good things.
And then, but being a woman, I don't really talk to strange men generally. But my background as a news reporter, I'll run up and talk to anybody because that's your whole job, talking to strangers about something. So I had to like pull back on that because I'm not that anymore. And you get stuck in doing something that you've been doing forever, 20 years. You've been running up to a fire or stopping and asking a cop, what's going on. That's not even my place as a private citizen. I'm not going to write anything about it on my blog, but it's just you get ingrained in these habits. Over 35 and up, you get ingrained in habits by the time you're past 35. And I just really can't even talk to anybody under the age of 35 too long because they start to irritate me like an onion when it's cut, one of them old school onions. They make my eyes water, like an allergic reaction. And my son is Gen Z, so I've been called boomer so much that, and I don't want to, they had to live through 911 and, all this stuff that's going on. They didn't have to live through everybody being high when you was growing up. The only sober house was my house.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, not even acting like a lot of people that didn't even act like they care that people, they want you to know that they had some marijuana at some point in the day. And so when you go in the hood Dollar Tree, it's jumping. The music is cranked up. They playing R&B. All my favorite songs, and it smells like.
Yeah, no doubt. I get it.
It's just, and I want to write something on that blog so bad. But it's like, you're going to have to stop coming in here if you write down that stuff because those people are going to be arrogant and proud and they're going to they're going to have something to say. They're not. So if I can't find a humorous way to say what I want to say, then I cannot say it. That's the new rule. So I said, I need a co-host because I've been trying to write humor for a really long time. And sometimes I can be funny, but most of the time I'm just scary. So maybe if you're the straight guy, then I can be funny. Like you could be, what's his name? Robin is his co-host. What's his name? Howard Stern.
Howard Stern. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm about like Howard Stern. He shoot from the hip, in his own little way, and I shoot from the hip in my own little way. So yeah.
Have you listened to his show?
I have.
Okay.
I have. Yeah, he got his way of delivering things, but he come from the hip, but he got a twist on how he things.
I like his boldness. He talked about his parents' sex life on TV back in the 90s. I remember I had to pull over because I was laughing so hard. I had to pull over, and Robin was laughing just as hard. Oh, God. I mentioned this man's name. Oh, my God. Okay. I mentioned Howard Stern's name in Sex Life, and they just dinged the live and said that people under the age of 18 can't come in. I have 2 restrictions.
Already, just for saying that. That's wild.
Well, I don't really want kids in here because it's over 35 and up.
Yeah, it probably can get rough sometime when depending on the subject.
Yeah, I don't want to. I mean, as a therapist, you shouldn't open doors you can't close.
That's right.
And I don't have access to do anything like that on the internet. And I'm not a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
I play one on TV, but I'm not a therapist, not really. And I only know that little bit because a therapist told me that. If people like to play therapist until you get to digging around in somebody's emotions and they snap.
Yeah.
And then you have a mess. A real mess.
I I'm close to some therapists.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm close to some therapists, but I think therapists need therapists.
They
I think
they
everybody.
have to.
Yeah,
It's a
so
rule. It's like an ethical rule that they need to go have therapy because they're. I mean, I used to be a what do you call it? A methadone counselor because I took a lot of psychology, and these people had real problems besides the drugs and the alcohol. Under that, they had a lot of stuff, essay, and most of it was essay, and people wanting them to be the way that they were, so it would make it easier for to bring the substances into the home. And it was just narcissistic behavior. It didn't stop there. That's just Satan. It was like talking to people who had been raised by Satan.
mhm,
And of course you need some heroin at that point. You need a vacation for yourself.
yeah,
You really do. Nobody should turn you out at 9.
I can, I
And
can
that's the
truly,
same thing Cardi B said. Her mama put her on the stroll. Turned out better for her, but
yeah. But now, well, I wouldn't financially maybe, but you never know what's going on in her head that she hasn't told anybody or came out yet. So all that affects people.
yeah,
But
but
now
it's
she's
just
fairly wealthy. I agree with that, but got to be a hard thing in the mindset knowing that your mom put you out there, for personal gain.
well, she turned out. I mean, I guess if your mom was a stripper, you're a stripper. She held your hand, or maybe somebody kept her from being brutalized. However, this woman, this one particular woman, she just was in a nod, and she didn't want to be here. She didn't want to be conscious, and I understand why, because her mom. Back in the day, women didn't have any rights. You had to have some kind of a man in your life, whether he was married to you or just Mr. It was like the color purple. And some of them had a taste for younger women. And she had to pretty much oblige if she wanted to pay an electric bill or buy a new pair of tights or some patent leather shoes. And this is where we are. And this was years ago. And a woman said, you need to be a counselor somehow before you go try to get a side D and spend more money doing something that's either dangerous or unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. And I would never in my life pursue counseling because these people came in with actual demons, like demonic presence, presenting just like all those psychology, abnormal psych books I read. Just fascinated with that my whole life. And here it is in front of me. Next thing you know, I was in Florida somewhere being a reporter. I ain't going to even talk about how I got there. But I drove my little car, my little Ford Focus on down there, on down 65. I didn't want to come home. I was so happy to be away from this place and these people because I felt bad for them. But it's like, I can't do nothing for you if you're not going to come in here and take this here methadone, ma'am. I can't reverse the wheels of time and whip your mama because she probably had the same thing happen to her. And they forced Whoopi and Oprah to redo Color Purple. So nobody could really know, yeah, that it's true that, but it was just like Bible times. Between the ages of 9 and 13, you're going to have to leave because you can't be here. And they were building their family trees. Now we don't even build family trees. Nobody's doing anything. You could be 21, 22, 23, and if no man is asking to marry you, you just go to work and come home. And everybody stays in their own little bubble. So I guess I did good to have anything, any kind of family, any kind of marriage, any kind of anything. Because the girls have such a hard time now. And the guys, they have so many choices. Most men who make money, well, one man who made money told me this, that they just go buy for the price of a loaf of bread, and they don't have a problem. Everybody understands their role, and they all have fun. It's just fun.
Some men but I think it's still a whole different group of men that maybe live by a different moral code than some to some men some things mean more than to other men. So um, I think it just depends on the group of men. I think it's a group of men that maybe like what you're saying to that aspect. But I think on the flip side of that, it's still certain men. You may not see a lot of them because it's not a lot of them, but men of value, man of man of class, man that's not gonna do certain things because it's not right with them to do it. So now I know a lot of men that from what you said, that's what they do. I see it every day. Um, but that doesn't to certain men, which it's not many, that doesn't fit with them to do what those guys do. Some men like they value their temple, they value the person they allow into their temple. And if, if it's anything other than what they didn't feel to be right, they don't allow certain things in. They just keep it out. So I know it's men like that because I know if not more, I know one. So I do think it's more. No, just being honest, I think it's you know some people may call it crazy or whatever, but I think it's some people out here that stand on certain things, just like it's some people that stand on different things, you know. But some men it's not finished even subject himself to certain type of tactics, I'll say, because he couldn't even put himself in that environment and be able to function in the environment because his temple won't allow it.
Exactly. I was around politicians, lawyers, police officers, or peace or civil officers, and just people who would, run a city. You
Mm-hmm.
end up stop talking to the same people all the time. Prominent business people, small business people, and students. You talk to the same people, and these guys, I was married at the time, so it didn't bother me. And I was very plain, like I am now. And they like them dolled up. They like a dolled up woman like Rachel. They do not want Leah in her soft eye. They want Rachel, and she was done up. And the done up women usually have the spirit of Jezebel. And you get that entire lifestyle with her. And, religion is not in our culture. In our culture, you can do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have all the guardrails taken away, and they find themselves older, wiser, but they're used to a certain thing. They're used to a geisha. They're used to somebody that's going to pander because most of these women come with habits. And as long as they can afford that woman's habit, then she belongs to them. It's almost like indentured servitude. Yeah, she's not going to jump up and she's not going to hit you in the head with a champagne bottle. She ain't going to send you to the hospital. She's not going to do any of that. You probably could do just about anything to these women. And these guys, I guess that's what they need. Because regular women with regular jobs cannot go into their job with a black eye or a bruised orbital bone or anything straight out of Brooklyn. You cannot do that, especially if you have a high profile job. You can't do lots of stuff if you if your whole job is your life and lifestyle. You're limited. So if you get jumped on at the crib, they're gonna tell you you're gonna have to choose because we can't have that here, and we don't want to get shot up.
Because
You
what
know,
happens will forward to the job eventually. I agree.
I mean, they kind of have to go with the strippers and sex workers and women and they say waitresses. I don't know, bartender. You know, women who might go ways with you because if you get someone outside of that lifestyle, you can catch a case. And as long as you don't kill her, you'll be all right. You still have clients go to because they all get around the golf course and kiki about it. And it's like she didn't die, did she? No, no. We got her there. She got some Narcan. Plus, they come with the party. It's like they bring all the stuff you need for a party. They spend most of their time in hotels. This is just what they do. And it doesn't matter the color. This is what they do with their off times. This is how they unwind. Some of them play video games, but the other ones, they're more social. And it's like, you thinking or you looking, it's like, you're never going to get a wife. Because I'm like, what woman wants to share her husband with prostitutes?
Yeah, that don't even sound right.
Well, that's what they doing.
To the ear, just to the ear, it's like it's cringy. Like ooh,
Now you see
like
what I'm talking about? I got to find a way to make our conversation humorous, like Howard Stern talked about his mother and father. Old people, sex is not sexy. And he asked the most graphic
but that's
questions.
good though. You have to though. You have to be willing to touch subjects that people run from.
But
And
how
you
do I
have,
make it funny? Funny. I got to make it not cringy because I've
well, no,
seen a lot of horrible things and I can still eat my dinner. I don't care.
no. I think you just have to um,
No,
you have to we
we.
yeah, you just have to wear on people. Once people know how you come, they eventually they already know like how you gonna come across. So, but at first it's gonna be different to the ear. Like when you hear a high pitched thing, it's gonna make your ear. It's gonna be different to your ear. But once you continue hearing that type of sound, your ear adjusts to it, and it doesn't. It's not as high pitched, and because it's used to it, so they have to get used to it. You know.
Unpleasant. I hate to be unpleasant. I do. I hate to be rude and I hate to be unpleasant because you're not receptive. That's a closed, unreceptive to communication model. So it has to be like I'm going along and like most people do, they just interrupt me or they'll, knock me to the side a little bit and I'll jerk over like the old school needle on the record. It jucks over one of the ridges and then it gets past the cussy parts. I just adjust it here and there. But something
you,
you go back and it's like you've skipped all over. We don't know what the song is. It's like, well, here's the thing. I hate to be the one to tell you because I know you're like, I know you're not talking to me.
mhm.
I know you, ma'am, are not talking to me about my morality and behavior. And it's like, it seems I've been tasked. It weighs heavily on my soul that I'm just going to have to say these things. Okay. And we're not growing our family trees. We're not doing a lot of stuff as a community of people that we should be doing that's simple to do that even animals do. They get together, they hunch, then they procreate, they make more of themselves. But
Yeah,
when we make more of ourselves, we need to preserve the ones we have and keep them out of the jailhouse. Okay.
strictly. I agree with that. I agree with that because
And
you can allow them to go to the jailhouse, but you're killing the population because they can't produce anymore.
no, have you I've seen some videos and stuff of these guys when they do a stretch. I've it's not they're not the same. They're skittish and they don't want to be around women. They don't want to hear anything about women. They just, and these women hook up with them. And I like the woman was, I don't know how long she knew this guy, but she must didn't feel comfortable because she had a camera out filming him. And I'm like, this man just told you that he's triggered because you have him out in public around regular people trying to shop and do stuff. And he's triggered and he needs to sit in the car and be calm. So you probably talked to counselors inside the prison and then didn't find that same support outside. And then whoever is getting paid to do it,
Not doing the job.
if it's even a job, because a lot of time those jobs are like the first to get cut because they think you don't do anything until people are climbing through your windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to keep them from recidivizing. Recidivism? What is the word? Is it recidivism? They don't want you to go back to
We'll
prison.
say retracting. We'll say just retracting where they tend to fall back into the old state of the things they used to do. But that's what happens most of the time because they're not getting what they need when they are out mentally, especially mentally. And if they're not financially getting in position that and they mental off, it tends to make it even worse. So that's when you have all the issues. Because the start, they already have a mental issue. Then if they can't, if you can't get your money right, then it's gonna push that mental to depression and stress, and it's really gonna crank up whatever demon in them, and it's gonna come out. It's just gonna that is what it do with people. I know that. That's what people.
That's what I'm wondering. It's like you need a project manager. A lot of people don't know what folks do when they go to college. They're gone for a while, they come back, they say they have a nice job, boom, you don't understand. They go learn a lot of stuff about a couple of things. One thing, a lot of stuff. In 4, 5 years, whatever it will take, then they come back and they put it into practice. One of the things that we learn is how to be a project manager. A project manager knows what everybody is supposed to be doing in a certain scenario. When you have many moving gears, 5 or 6 people on the staff, you know what you're supposed to do. You're the executive. You take the fall for things and you write rules or you make sure things or you go press the flash and you raise funds. Then you got somebody that works with the actual client if you have one. Then someone for tech and then, so on and so forth. You have to make sure everybody's connecting and doing things the right way and not doing that old school Mr. Bossman stuff. This is not a factory. This is a place where we help people. And if they don't get their meds or if they don't get their counseling session, they might cut someone's throat. Okay? You don't want that. For real. They might. And you want to make sure everybody is touching base the way they're supposed to. And I'm finding that a lot of people use these types of jobs, a lot of them are nonprofit, as nepotism jobs, political payback jobs. Oh my God, it's like a tumor in our community. And you get someone who is totally unqualified, haven't even driven past a church or a school more than 20 minutes and won't go out their way for anything. So they're telling the people, oh, just walk it off. You'll be all right. And they're never in the office. They never provide the services. And a lot of this stuff, you really need to not be doing that for a couple of reasons, And I'll never forget, my husband and I played hooky to watch Princess Diana and King Charles get married. It was very beautiful. Right after that went off, because it was like 3 hours, the news came on. Some older white man, once again, had taken a shotgun up to his third wife's place of work and blown her head all over the cubicle. And these people were in shock. They were in shock, literally in shock. And the news knows to go in while they're in shock. They'll tell you everything because they're traumatized. They'll blah, blah, blah. And she said, I was sitting in the cubicle next to her, and I saw bits of bone and brain matter
Right.
in
Yeah.
my part of the cubicle. You know how people are about the cubicle. In my part of the cubicle, and she was just staring into the, just talking about this, and so everybody's traumatized. Long story short, and this man had been in prison for a long time, like 45 years for something,
For some
and
other
he,
crime.
and these women, they marry him. She might have been a lot of stuff, but right now she's nice and clean and decent. And it was some stuff that had to do with him being locked up that she didn't care for, I guess. And yeah, they usually go away from them. So we're putting so many people in here because they're running afoul of societal rules and laws. You need to stop it before it gets there. And it has to be more than just preschool. It has to be more than just preschool, because the disconnect comes as they get into puberty and whatever is going on in their household. Because we got whole households, and I hate to say affordable housing, where you're autonomous. You don't pay anything. You can run men in and out. You run men like a pimp.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them do. And so the children from that, they usually end up, trafficked in some kind of way. Because what the young lady the woman that was in my office, she was trafficked.
Mm-hmm.
See, you're supposed to do what the cat is doing. You're listening. You're a counselor. The cat is outside my door going, meow. Shut up, girl.
Oh,
She's like, girl, why don't you be quiet? Meow, meow, meow. That's like, why are you at my door? Meow. So I'm gonna leave that there. So when you start sitting back, I haven't had time to put these puzzle pieces together. Why is this like that? And a lot of people, they won't tell you. They tell you as much as they can, and then it's like, I got irons in the fire. I can't use all my day with you. I'm not using up my social cred with you. I'm not investing any time in this, and it's like and so after a while you get to see what people are doing. Now I'm looking at another part of the elephant to see what exactly our problem is. Why can't you just go to school like everybody else? I wasn't that smart, but I could read and remember some things. And that's pretty much all you have to do. And you have to want to do it. Now, in the 90s, all our friends went to college. We wasn't on no pole. We were too fat anyway. Well, at least I was. But, I mean, they wasn't trying to put you on. Now they want you to go. Women that should have been doctors are now doing, well, you can be rich. And I'm like, you can have money through a job, a regular job. In our own communities, not everybody is strung out, but people do get old and they die, and they take that knowledge with them if it's not imparted into the next generation. And a lot of the stuff we're not passing on to anybody because it was horrible when we found out. And so we're not passing a lot of information that these kids probably know. We try to shield them because we weren't shielded. We weren't shielded at all. The drug, it's free sex and drugs, and everybody, you can go outside and do it, and it's cool. Remember the hippies? You don't have to bathe, you don't have to cut your hair. If they make you go to the military, go to Canada. People were actually doing this and living their lives this way. What we didn't understand is that they came from at least an upper middle class background. You're working class. They say the military is for people that, you don't have any money. You don't have any sway and you don't have any influence. And they're hoping if you go, you get a degree so your children don't have to do that. Unless you just want to do it. We're not connecting the way we need to. We only do a couple of things. No other race needs us for anything. We're not slaves. We wouldn't even make good slaves. We'd kill everybody that was actually producing stuff. Those plantations were like small cities. They were self-sustaining and they sustained other places. We wouldn't have any Newports if it wasn't for that.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Malt, all the stuff we love. Alcohol and cigarettes
Mm-hmm.
and fornication. As long as we got drugs and sex and rock and roll, we're happy.
Normally, that's about all it takes to make people comfortable.
That's all it takes. And so in that is Satan.
Yeah.
And then he finds other perversions.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll take you to, and it's like you're just happy, doing your thing. And the next thing you know, you don't have any money. You got a little habit. And you do a little strange for change. And you talking about crazy stuff. And then you could have gone to college, but I don't know what's making people say no to college. And then I talked to some educated people on TikTok the other day. Jesus. And if this is what you're talking about, I understand why you run from people with education and don't like educated people, because these people, because I was like, I don't know anything about DNA. And I was telling him stuff and he chewed it up and fed it back to me and told me the answer. And I was like, oh, is that what that means? I didn't know that's what that meant. And he's like, I'm surprised you said you don't know. That's because I do know enough. I don't need to know anybody else's job.
Mm-hmm.
You're responsible for everything that you know. I know quite a bit and I'm busy from sun up to sundown. I don't really want to know much else unless it's going to put some money in my pocket and it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least entertaining.
Yeah.
It's something out of, usually it's nothing for me. It's not entertaining and no money or very little money. And you need to be nice, dealing with.
It gotta make sense.
Oh, none of it. I couldn't sell this lifestyle. It's godly, but I couldn't sell it to people because I forego things that I want to do what's right and sound judgment for my adult children. Because their dad died when they were young. So it's just been me and them. And so they're used to that.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to that. I couldn't sell this lifestyle to people because I don't really get to go anywhere, but that's fine. Because I don't like sleeping in hotels and bed bugs.
Mm-hmm.
During some of my adventures, I actually had to take a job cleaning hotel rooms. And those ladies were nice to me. They took all my tips because they really weren't my tips. I was just there for that day. And they went in there and said, see, they didn't even really use the bed. Just pop the sheets and smooth down the pillowcase. If there's a soil or something visible, then you change it. Other than that, you take the vacuum cleaner and make some marks in the carpet. I don't know what else she said because I was mortified.
Yeah.
Because me, it's like, I'm going to go in and make the bed. So I'm making it. That's some back-breaking work. I was like, girl, at the third one, I was like, girl, I don't know how y'all do this. The way I told you, we done. And you're actually doing all this stuff. You're going to make more work for the laundry. And that's the bottom line. And the boss going to be mad because we had to buy more detergent. And every place I went to that was trivial, menial, crappy job, they all said stuff like that. If we don't clean out the Slurpee machine, or if we don't mop, change out the mop water, then we save on cleaning supplies. And it's like, I work here, but I'm just here because my son kept wanting some wheelies or heelys or something, and they were expensive. So I said, I'm going to get this part-time job.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to quit. I ended up writing a book about that because I just could not believe. And just imagine Jesus sitting up there knowing all this going in. And he still went to the cross for us. We are hopeless. Horrible people.
He was the greatness was on him. He just was that guy. Cause probably couldn't have been nobody but him that did what he did for us. Couldn't have been one of us because we already know. If we knowingly know we like, what I'm gonna get up there for, Nate? Oh no. You know what I'm saying? So it took a great man to know what he getting up there for and what the
But
people was
it's
going
hurtful to see people, because I know how I was. I was inverted. I was so
yeah,
bad off. I was inside out.
yeah,
I didn't even know. I couldn't even recognize myself. I was inside out. I was three, four, five, six other people
yeah.
in my mind having the time of my life, just doing
Yeah.
whatever I wanted
Yeah,
to do.
yeah,
I was just, I was horrible. I was horrible, but that was the real me. That was the me with that, I still went to church, was baptized, read the Bible when I had a problem, like it's a medicine instead of just for enjoyment. I was looking for God's hand and not his heart. Just, just had plenty of stuff to do and plenty of stuff to do, people to do it with. And just, it was no shortage of fun to be had. And it wasn't just, nasty, slutty things. Just, come on, let's go here. Come on, let's run out. And of course, we would not be sober when we got home. Just that same college
mhm,
girl stuff. And it's like, girl, you 46.
mhm.
I don't look 46. It don't matter.
I
It
understand.
does not matter. You need to be doing some other things. But like I say, you get used to doing the thing at work. And it's other people that's done. Katie Kirk did the same thing. What Don Lemon did the same thing. We all have some kind of newsy talk show podcast. No one wanted to hear it when we were getting paid.
Mhm.
That's why no one says anything about news and they don't tell you exactly what happened because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
You could get stabbed or shot, or they might mess with your money, step hard on your toes or something. Or what they do, they go to your relatives. Hey, you know her? Yeah. And then whatever relationship. And then next thing you know, people you know are talking to you.
Mhm.
And it's only because they're paranoid and strung out. A strung out person is not safe. They might do anything. They do bumps, they're trying to keep their little thing going. But it messes with this and things that aren't true, you'll believe.
I
Because
agree.
you don't get to sleep, you don't get the nutrition, you're depriving yourself of a lot of different things, and you think it's cool, you think it's nice, but to like regular people who aren't like that, you come off as, far out, or you probably need to check yourself into someplace for
Mhm.
30 days, whatever your insurance pay for.
Mhm. Get a little
Go,
help. Just a little bit. See what you can get.
well, sometimes if you do it and you're high profile, they'll write about it.
Mhm. True.
So you have to kind of like choose. It's like, well, the way I see it, you should have gone and let somebody possibly know that you were doing stuff. Because now you're in the federal pen. And you can do all that time. And you can get all the services there. But
Mhm.
you could have avoided that. So you're dealing with people who have like huge, cavernous issues. And they're in the public eye. And they're supposed to be helpful. They're not that helpful. They're diminished. And they're compromised and they make compromises. And then you have regular people. Used to be mama would sit at home. She made sure you did your homework. Mister might come by, but it wasn't that bad. She still kept after you. Now, after a while, even back then, that's what a tackhead was. She was so messed up she couldn't do anything for herself.
Mhm.
Hygiene, anything, nothing. She was just like in traffic. When he found his daughter on that mattress, the only reason
Mhm.
she woke up and got on that elbow was to smoke some more dope. And then she just laid there, and whoever he sent in there, that's what they did.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. You don't know where your children are
Mhm.
when that's happening.
No doubt.
Okay, and a lot of them get kids from that. They don't know their child. daddy is. And they're not really trying to look. Where did we go wrong there? Because it's happening, it's not most of the people, but it's happening too much to us. Okay, what happened to the 90s push to send everybody to college? Nobody wants to go now. Why don't you teach handwriting? Mom works, she's not going to make sure you know it. Or something crazy. You know, what is the problem? What is the disconnect in our communities while we don't have schools that are ranked in the top 10 nationally? You just have that in the areas where you have to pay a lot of property tax. Sometimes they'll let you come there if you pay, you know, but generally if you're not paying property tax, that's why they put you in jail, because you're stealing from them. They pay a lot of money for their homes and the tax on their homes. You do not live in this community, but you're sucking up the goodness from that school, trying to change the rules at the school, upset, and telling your kid that they don't have to follow them when you're not even supposed to be there. This is what we do, and we think it makes sense. That does not make sense. And that's why you're in jail for putting your child out of district. That's actually what goes on. And then, or you get there and, well, they're not fair to my child. And it's like, this lady's been in the PTA since this child was in pre-K and then ran for office and got in. She's going to make sure her child gets the valedictorian, because it's patronage. It's not education in our communities. It's patronage. And they're doing everything but communicating ideas and thoughts. And then when they do them, they actually don't do them well. We don't have good math teachers. They give those kids those workbook pages. They don't really, they're not like, you know, we were up against so much coming out of the 60s. We were up against so much. Women were up against so much. The only thing they could do would be a teacher or be a maid or be a nurse, maybe be a nurse. Well, in the black hospital. But then when they took away all of our segregated stuff, then you push the two groups together, there's going to be some people that don't get in. And we're still having that problem. I was like, well, you don't have to say segregation. We could just, since we're not wanted on the political stage, we were rebuffed in a huge way. Please learn that this is the time that you go and regroup in your community so that you don't have to pay attention to someone else's business. As long as you got enough people looking at them, as long as they're not hurting poor people, old people, kids, you know, you can snatch and grab each other's chains, but you can't snatch and grab our little stuff, because there's a lot of people poised to bang a gong and make a lot of noise when they see people overstepping of all colors, because they don't want to see that much of us. Remember the Jim Crow rules? You don't look them in the eye. You keep your head down. You don't really go out amongst them. That's the streets and the sidewalks are for them. They're the society. We're not the society. Not amongst them. They still think that way. And we don't think that way. So we need to have our own. So like when you tell you need your own house, because you can't take over mine. This is my house. This is how they feel. And a lot of them like stone houses, you know, made out of brick and mortar. They know how to make them. They know how to make them nice. They know how to educate and sit down and listen and receive knowledge and then repeat it back. They do. The only thing that stopped their growth was drugs. Remember? Oh, you can get a movies, anything. Sorry. And they do so many horrible things. I was like, well, you know, they have rules about their prisoners. They are respectful. Okay, well, Africans don't. We were POWs and they sold us. And then after a while, they got tired of haggling and they just took everybody. And if you don't want to come, they shot you. They're very brutal. We don't get that message. We're not receiving it. Now, we've lived through pestilence, but we can't receive that. We tired of y'all. We had that one man. He was good. We liked him. But the rest of y'all, look at how y'all live. We don't even want to put up with that in our own race. And most of them are white Catholics. All right? They're really reticent to let you in a union anyway. This is the time we need to go mind our business. We have plenty of it. But when I say that, so many of the people, we don't want to hear that. And it's like what you want to hear and what you need to hear are always going to be two different things.
Mm.
Okay? And you might die because you don't want to listen. People die when things don't change. What did you say earlier? His mind is not right. His money is not right. You know why his counterpart in the other community man is right? Because he got money for a case of bud and a gallon of vodka every week.
Yeah.
And they get all of it at Maya or CVS or wherever, and they're going on back home with their cartons of cigarettes.
Yeah.
It may not be ideal, but they have a family unit. We do not have a family unit in our affordable housing. We don't. We have a series of whatever. You know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be, you can't legislate morality, but you can make some rules. And then a lot of them, they don't really want to be involved. And then some of them are supporting their mother and brothers and sisters, and they're not detaching some generation at some point. Like when Nancy Reagan said, just say no. Remember when she said that?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody laughed at her, right?
Mm-hmm.
She probably shaved some time off her years here because it resonated with tiny kindergarten just say no. They could say, just say no. Just say no. And they were saying it. And so the class 86, they were drug addicts. Class 84 was. But we went to college, so we functional addicts. Class 86 went to college, not alcoholics, not drug addicts. They remember just say no. You see, it skipped a couple. 84 and 85, you know, what did you say? What did you say? Casualties? Collateral damage? 86, 87, 88. Oh, I'm trying to think. By the 90s, you know what happened. The Nino Brown, and everybody wants to do that. And then you had 50 Cent, which is excellent show, excellent writing. But they had little things, little bitty things that they used to say. Remember when Tasha was trying to flip that DA, who was a person with a law degree? And when he found out who she was, he vacated that space. They tried to make, see, he don't love you. Da, 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 da. They were fornicating. She was trying to flip him. Mm-hmm. Okay? She was trying to flip him.
She was playing on him.
Yeah, because she needed something. Okay, but she had a degree. And it's like, what you do with your time and your mind and all of that, it is up to you. But there's value in doing things the right way. She could have easily just been somewhere else being an accountant.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's all. She was an accountant. And I don't know what the other one's degree was in. But the writing was so good. But directly after that, I just stopped watching it because I'm like, that's not the message you should send. The message you should send is that Tasha need to be slapped around a little bit. Her crazy mama needs to slap her around a little bit. Just not a lot.
Yeah, get in line a little bit.
you need to, but see, you can't want money that bad.
Yeah.
And it was unrealistic anyway. It's like they are not trusting our color with none of that because we wouldn't do it right. We wouldn't do it right. We'd let one or the other talk us out of it. Every move them people made in that thing was to secure or to compromise. They're like spies. They were just compromising law enforcement so they can squeeze through. Mm-hmm. And if you riding in this world long enough, you will learn to do that. It's like, I'm not gonna say a word. Go on and do it. And the next time you see me do something, you better turn your head because it ain't half as bad as what you do. And I like to talk. And you don't have any authority with God. And you can't touch me. It would be a boulder I would not be able to recover from pushing down. See, some stuff is like a forward. You just push that boulder on down and you don't know who might get killed or broken up. And you can't. You ever seen a person push a boulder up a hill? No. It's not done. Yeah. What's done is done. It's a tomb. It's a tomb. It's shut. You put it in the mausoleum. That's it. So before you get to that, it's like life is a series of compromises. It's like, what are you compromising for? And do you even have to compromise? It's like, if I had my druthers, I wouldn't know none of these people I know. Then I wouldn't invite them to my house for any kind of dinner party. They're not the type of people you do that kind of stuff with, and they wouldn't even know what to do with the invitation. They were like, what am I supposed to do with this? It's like, does she want me? No. Yeah. And then if one of my friends hooked up with it, did you know that was that person? And you didn't say anything to me? It's like, what am I supposed to say? Sleep with him. Your other friend, girl, you know she a hoe. You did that on purpose. Then they over there talking to Jesus about me. You ever had people talk to Jesus about you?
Probably plenty of time. Yeah.
You especially you, being a preacher's kid, you know when somebody's going to Jesus on you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because if they get a prayer through, your attitude will change or something will happen. Or sometimes the Holy Spirit is working and it's just like, just go over here, babe. Like the cat was at my door. Just go over here and you can avoid all of that and leave them people alone. It's for people who want to do stuff, and I'm trying to make it funny. Like I see other people, they're laughing, but I know they're laughing out of ignorance. If they actually knew what was going on, they would never smile. Ever. And then that's the running joke. If you laughing, and I know you don't know what's going on. Because it's none of it is funny. But I try to stay away from things that are like super serious and get stuff that you can pull off of Facebook controversies that, aren't that deep. And should we debate stuff? Because going this deep with stuff, with what I know, what I've seen, oh, Jesus. You wouldn't be able to recover from it. People are, and people would want to avoid. Like the one girl just said, we don't want to hear all that. We don't want to hear about God. We don't want to hear about school. And I'm like, well, what do you do with your time? They are a part of the crew. They follow the money. And if the money is in a hotel room with a bunch of strippers or whatever, then that's where they're going to be. And if you do that starting at 12, 13, 14, 15, you're doing that at 20, 21, 30. And what the lady say, I raised my son, now the streets calling my name. I said, that's because you're very pretty. The streets have not ever called my name. Now, I took my nosy self out there, but I couldn't fit into none of them little restaurant booths or those little tiny outfits without looking completely ridiculous. And after a while, I needed to pull them heels off, and they didn't want to see anybody in flats and stuff. And I'm not even joking. When I started working in the community, I had to get nails. I had long the soprano housewife nails with the thick tip. And I could type with them. I had that. That's when I started wearing weaves. I was a regular person with no nails, no hair added. I wore glasses. And most of the time, my chin was down like on my chest, writing something down. But when you look like that, people don't want to talk to you because you can put my name in the paper. I said, it was a fire. All right. And you saw the fire. I'm just going to write the sentence that you just said. I just need your name. It's just, flesh out this story. And then they're thinking, but when I put all that stuff on, And what those purple contacts, those amethyst contacts, and all that blonde. I look like Little Kim's mama. I'm not joking. They chatted me up. Oh yeah, I know you from the spot, girl. I got all of the information. Right, because they needed to be comfortable. I couldn't be walking around looking like nerd girl. I had to look like Lil Kim's. I don't know what Lil Kim's mama looked like.
Had to look the part, look fit into who they.
Yeah, you brown skin with 613 and nails and amethyst contact. I still got them. I still can go there. I still can go there. But I noticed that this is not the environment that I want to be, I don't want to stick out. It's best to be like a gray person, just, all nice and calm. Everybody's in sportswear. They're running in and out. You got your head down. This is not a space to twirl like a housewife, Atlanta Housewives. You cannot twirl here. There's no twirling space. Matter of fact, I don't even carry my bags anymore because it was a really decent looking, nice, decent girl. Looked like she was a college girl. I saw her cut her eye at that bag. I'd never wear that bag again. I said, never will you snatch my stuff and I need my license. I'm trying to go through all that.
Yeah, no doubt. When you see them looking, you got to know when.
Right, and she wasn't some crazy looking person. She could have been me. I said, well, that's too flashy. So, yeah, that was $100 down the drain. Anyway, I just need help with picking topics that people can glob onto and I'm not hurting their feelings.
Well, I think of some things real.
Like, can we come up with one now from all this stuff? Well, the places I can go dark, real deep and dark. But I want to go like just a quarter of the way in. Topical stuff. It don't have to be politics. It don't have to be news. It don't have to be terror attacks. It don't have to be weather. Just stuff, trends we might notice. I know it's dudes that do this, or I know it's women that do this, or did you hear about the lady on this, or hear about have you heard anything? Even gossip.
Like, unless you want to speak on, like, you got certain rappers and you got certain R&B singers that may have things going on. But all I can think of, if you don't want to do something like that, you can just do like the relationship things on why women, why men may not choose to get married many times, or why women may feel like they don't need a man right now, especially when they making a certain amount of money. Things like that.
Over 35 and up. Those are good. Let me write that down. Those are good over 35 and up issues. It's just that I'm not in are you in a relationship? I'm not in a relationship.
I am. I'm dating. I'm not in a relationship, but I am. Dating.
Relationship stuff.
I think relationship stuff that'll be the best thing because everybody's dealing with it to some type, either they are dealing with something or not. So everybody can speak on from their point of view.
Yeah, because it's a lot of women trying to get in here. It's a lot of women trying to get in here. And it helps that if you could I love the way you dress. I have an Amazon influencer store and I was putting up outfits just like what you got on. You should continue to do that. Continue to be clean shaven. I mean, they're beating the door down. They're like growling a little bit, a little froth around the corner. I was like, he'll be back out soon, ladies. What type of women say they don't need a man?
Yeah, things like that. I mean, I think most of the women that feel like that are already financially at a point where they feel like they're good. So those are some things we can discuss maybe tomorrow. Or I wouldn't say, let's say maybe the weekend we can get together and try to do a video. That right there, I think women and men. It's gonna bring together, and it's gonna bring a class. So with that alone, I think because you're gonna step on toes, and then you're gonna get people behind you that's gonna agree. So you need people that don't agree, and you need people that agree. And what you do is because it's gonna make a trend. But that's what's going on. That's what's really going on in the world right now. You know. So and then men, when they make a certain amount of money, they may feel like, hey, they just don't want one woman. They want to have what they want. I mean, it's all of that you can take and roll into that type of thing. That's just how it goes. How some people think. Not all, but some may think like that. So and that's gonna bring another uh, group of people with it, and then a group of people against it, and that's what you want to do. So
So, do we use relationship? Why men don't marry could be a topic, and then another one could be what type of women say they don't need a man, and then I guess a third one could be what does God say about relationships, and
yeah,
that's where you come in because you have authority to talk like that.
yeah,
Um, we can add in subtopics like low birth rate, and then the whole high value man and high value women. Why aren't they getting together?
hmm
Seems like one would complete the other, but the men never want a high value woman. If he's high value, he always wants what he wants,
and
and it's
he
usually
even
not
probably feel
that.
like he don't need. They each one of them may feel like they don't need. So it's just a want. So a want is different from a need. A need you like you got to eat every day. You need food, but you may just want a hamburger today, but you ain't got to have one. So it's one of the things that people.
Yeah, they don't have any long range plans for marriage and procreation. They're not working on their family trees, and the white birth rate is falling, and that set off alarm, and that's why they snatched the abortion law. Now women can't get abortions in many states, and several women have died from miscarriages because they could detect a fetal heartbeat, and it was either the mom or the baby, and they both died.
Mhm,
And this is recent.
mhm.
This is recent. And people are not understanding what that means. It means a lot of young women in childbearing years are going to die. We stopped letting them die. We stopped letting them, fend for themselves on the abortion thing because they were being found dead in bathrooms and whatnot all over. Whoopi Goldberg talked about it because she was older during that time. And she said they just got sick of running into dead women and women into bathrooms because a lot of times they not gonna tell because you don't want to know whose baby it is. There's a lot of darkness,
Yeah, no
and
doubt.
so they made it so that you don't have to tell anybody anything. You can get a free, safe, clean abortion if you need it, and they are blaming that for the low birth rate. That's like women are not running to get abortions because they can. Maybe some are, a lot of times they're getting abortions because the dude don't want the baby.
Mhm.
And if he didn't
Most
whooped her like a trick,
most of the time, that's right.
I'm just telling you, a lot of times they don't want the baby. They don't want her. And if they got to kick that baby out of you, they will. They're brutal. And so the abortions are for that. And men won't hear it. And I can't say it anymore. I'm not even joking.
I get it. I
And
definitely get it.
I can't be the only one that see this. I can't be the only one that ever gotten married. I cannot be the only one that's ever been in a relationship. People argue. People be drunk.
Yeah, people may see it and just afraid to speak on it for whatever reason. Um, you know,
People be hospital administrators. People be president of certain organizations. and they getting thrown around like a hamster, and they just getting knocked out, and they taking days off.
To heal up.
You have to. You cannot go. It's like Straight Out of Brooklyn said. We cannot let you into any place with your face looking like that. How about hanging out the socket and throbbing? No, he bruised my orbital bone. That's why women have a certain way. It's like, if you know he's been drinking or you know he's brutal, do not talk to him. Your husband is not your friend.
Yeah, run.
No, you better have whatever he asks you for. If you're going to be in it, do what he asks you to do. And make zero demands. And they usually stay because of money and comfort and all of that. But, oh yeah, I did write that book about highs and lows of power couples. I forgot all about that book. I'm going to have to put that book up in there and say, hey, this is a digital download. You can read about more of that. Because a lot of people, if it's high value, they're not trying to be poor. At any, if you got to kick my teeth out again, well, you just going to have to pay for it. You got $6,000. Yeah, I do. And he'll pay for it. That's what James Brown did. He used to whoop on that lady until she got hooked on those surgical drugs. And she went in for the last surgery because he had punched her in the face and broke something. And she didn't tell them that she had still been taking the drugs, and they gave her too much anesthesia and she died. And it's just, I mean, you know how cocaine do people. That's why Massa would never give us cocaine. They gonna knock me off the air. They said that's why we couldn't have Coca-Cola, because we acted berserk. And we still do. That's a very harsh, angry, dangerous. I used to work in one of those places where you go to sober up, and day 3 of a crack addiction is, I don't care how nice the person is, they gonna ball up that fist and they gonna hit you, or they gonna try to. But it was a good mental health, what you call it, the mental health nurse. She talked him down, talked him into taking the Ativan, and he pimped back to his room. Oh Jesus, this is horrible. But that's what because I wasn't going nowhere near. It was just a job to me. I'm like, girl, bye. And she didn't need me. But I was there. It's like, call the board, call the guys. You have to tackle this and put him in a 5-point restraint. That happened. And when you see this stuff up close, what are you gonna do besides take heed? You understand what people are going through, and it's like, it has to be a better way. That's all my point is. It has to be a better way, and people have to understand the birth rate is not low because women are getting abortions. That's not why the birth rate is low. And there's no study anywhere saying, is it actually impacting the white birth rate? There's no studies anywhere because they don't really care. These are people who are running things, our lives, snatched away something that had been earned. Now they're looking at the ERA, Equal Rights Amendments. That's what gave women the right to vote, the right to work and, be left alone. Nobody wants to marry you. You're not anybody's face. If you're quiet enough, they'll forget you're there. And you got your credit card, you got your bank account, you can fly all over the world. And that's what they do. They go places. They're happy. They look happy. I know they're lonely. I know they want a man, but they're going to have to just, make do with what they do have. Because if you're not going to knuckle under and be who that person needs you to be, you either need to get a new person or stay out the game altogether. Because the ones they pay for, they can take a punch. I don't know how they do that. And then it's like, you got to take a portion of the money and go get a tooth put back in, a bridge. That's $4,000 for a bridge.
Wow.
You're going to be scooting around on them hills for a long time.
People do things like that though, but I don't see how they do it. That's wild.
This stuff is true. This stuff is true.
Go on. But it go on, but I think it's a need. They feel like uh, that they need something. That's why they have to take it and deal with it. So
Your part is that you'll say that, okay, well, you guys aren't getting along because you're arrogant. God doesn't like a proud person. Satan is proud and his children are proud. Don't be like them.
mm,
You'll say something like that because you have that knowledge.
okay,
All I
yeah,
do is buy a Sunday school book from Amazon and read out the Sunday school book. It's called Sunday School Live on X and where else? YouTube.
mm,
And just going over that. That's all I do. I'm not a pastor. My degree does not say theology. You
mm,
know, I enjoy Sunday school. My mother was a Sunday school teacher. And she's passed away, but she left me Jesus and all her Bibles and all her knowledge, and I appreciate it.
mm.
So that's all I do. I really don't have any authority to be talking to somebody about, walking a straighter life because I was swinging from the rafters and giving all them. I stopped.
Yeah. I
Look,
mean,
everybody got healed. Mary got healed. Lazarus was raised from the dead. Paul had the road to Damascus. Come on now.
yeah. When we find out, when we know better. We do better. Ain't nothing
We
wrong
do.
with
I
that.
really didn't know any better. I was just having it's a lot of men in my family, and they were in sports. So it was always a lot of that kind of social activity. So you kind of gravitate to the way you were raised. It's like I'm not a dude though.
Mm, I get it. I get it.
Like my little kitten is not even mine, but she thinks she's a human because she's only been around humans. She
Mm-hmm.
takes her little paws and tries to do things. I'm not even joking. It's so cute. She's so bad, and I let her get away with a lot of stuff because she's cute. But I grew up around a family full of men. All my cousins were boys, and it's just that women just gravitate to all the men in my family. They just have the Kavorka.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Women would make friends with me just to get to them, and I didn't even know because I was dumb. And as long as I wasn't a whore, no one cared. And I wasn't. It's very difficult to be a whore in that environment. So I never had the problem. I stayed in the library and read and stuff. But I got one, two, three. What is a good day? A day that you have no, not that much activity.
I can. My schedule will be loaded. Now I got some things coming up. I got many movies. Then I got two plays coming up. And then I got another movie coming up. So we rehearsing. I got a calendar set and up until one of the plays that's in April, then another play that's in June. So I'm loaded, but depending on how much time that how if we can talk about get a how long we gonna do it, like 30 minutes
1 hour.
or 1 hour, and we get
The
it where
uh,
we
the audio files are big,
yeah.
and we're gonna do it on here because I don't have any more room on my laptop. So the
It go on here.
commercials that I
It
have,
automatically go on your thing, yeah. So if you do it on here, that makes sense. Yeah.
we could just do it on here for
Mm-hmm.
now. And if I can extrapolate, I could download the video.
Download. That's right. Push it to you, whatever you gonna push to. You can do that. That's what I do anyway when I
Okay,
do
well,
this.
what do you want to name? What name do you want to use? You want to use your name, or you want to use sincere one?
Yeah, you can do the sincere one. Yeah, that'll be fine. Now we got to. I can tell you, I have to. I have to look at the schedule and be actually the schedule because I have in person and I have Zooms and I feel with my day job and my other stuff. But like I said, I don't have a problem with doing this. As long as we can get a certain time, like boom, okay, we're gonna do this for an hour, do it for the hour, boom, get out, we'll get done. I can move to the next thing. But I do have a. If you look at my stuff, a lot of stuff, or you Google me, you'll know exactly what I
I
do.
don't know your real name.
My name is Demario James.
Oh. Okay. And you
Demario.
should call. You should just let me know. Hey, I got an hour. You can. I'm gonna text you my number
Send me information, and I'll let you know.
when you
What
have
I
right. Cause
what
I'm a
I do.
stay-at-home mom. I'm a caregiver, and if it, I'm at home all the time.
All right, well, see that'd be good. So when I do break free and get time, where I'm gonna put 2 hours into uh just that type stuff, or what I do, I give you an hour, and then I'll put my hour into my stuff. So I'll let you know that. Send me your information, and I'll let you know. We'll go from there.
What if you ended up being the Kevin Samuels 2.0? But
That's what they already call me.
2.0 though.
Well, yeah,
Because
nah.
I'm your Robin.
Okay.
Right, because he told the truth all the time, but it was unpleasant.
Yeah,
And you see what happened.
yeah. Somebody killed him, no doubt. I'm healed, but
The
I'm
first one, the first one is relationship. Oh, I'm sorry. Why men don't marry? That'll be the first one, so you can be thinking.
and why men don't marry, and then why men are not remarried once they're not married.
Oh, well, I didn't remarry because nobody wanted to marry me. I
That's gonna
mean,
happen. With just
well,
I
it would have been difficult. How situationships. I
yeah,
don't do that. If you engage to somebody, that's your business.
yeah,
But I'm not gonna be the scourge of the town.
yeah. I
you
get you.
know, you used her for 20 years. I said I ain't got nothing to do with that, and I wouldn't be able to gracefully
Yeah.
get through that. I would have to. You would have been like, girl, if you don't put that bottle down, because if she died, you going to prison. I'm
I
not
would
trying to
tell
be on
you.
cell block H.
Well, I would tell you this. That I'm gonna go take me a nap. I would tell you this. I was married for 20 years.
That's
So
good.
I was married for 20 years. So
I hope it was just a divorce, right?
yeah, what else could it be?
She could have died. My husband died.
No, no,
We were divorced, but then he died.
no, no, no. Just,
I mean, people do die,
yeah, they die.
and
They die.
but in a divorce, at least they still walking around.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's support.
You know, once they died, you talking to God about them,
That's over with, dude. I don't want that for nobody. You know.
right?
Yeah, definitely,
It was
definitely.
very harsh, but
Yeah,
it happens.
no doubt. That's real. No doubt. No doubt.
All
Hey,
right, so I'm gonna
well, we'll
text you. I'm gonna give you my
text me all your information, and
and
I'll
then
reach out.
you text me your. I mean, use it to text me your number because I respond to text.
I got you. I got
Okay.
you.
Hood
Thank you.
Philosophies and Other Jive Talk from the Urban Jungle is a thought-provoking collection of 6 essays that dive deep into the heart of urban life. With sharp wit and raw honesty, the author explores the complexities of street culture, the church, the socio-economic struggles of marginalized communities, and the resilience of those living in the inner city. Each essay on the urban jungle, blending philosophy with lived experience in a way that is both insightful and unapologetically real.